Hello, everybody. Hey, Martha, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. I'm happy.
Yay! Yeah, you are happy. Well, you just came back from vacation. It's well, it's happier on vacation than coming back on
I
vacation.
yes, I have the champagne face bloat, right? It's I just got
That's
off
a
the
good thing.
plane today and it'll take a couple days of hydrating for it all to kind of go back to normal, but that means I'm happy. Fat and
Yes.
happy.
Well, absolutely. You look great, I think. Not a problem. Um, but we are here to do another one-star winery review episode. So you want to do a little blurb to introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. My name is Martha McBride, and I am the host of a podcast called My Aloof Vagina, which is a comedic exploration of perimenopause and middle age and middle age relationships and all the things that go with it, including champagne bloat, right? Carb face. Um, yeah, and I work with a wine club and have a lot of members who are wine collectors. And so there's wine in every day for me still. So I love that.
That is a good way to be. Wine every day. Absolutely. And for those that don't know who I am Lori Budd, my husband, and I own Dracaena Wines in Paso Robles. But under this title, Exploring the Wine Glass, I am a wine educator, a Spanish wine scholar, Cote d'Aron champagne specialist, and WSET Level 2. And wine is fun and it needs to be more fun. And that's where these one-star review podcast comes from. Are we
I like that we're
ready?
being irreverent about winery tourism too, right? Because sometimes you go, I was thinking about it after our last episode. Sometimes you go to a winery to taste and you'll go with someone and um they're taking it very seriously.
Oh,
They're
yes.
taking the entire thing very seriously. And it's fun to remind ourselves that it's just an opportunity to meet people involved in the business and try the wines and have a good time.
Right.
So the
I,
reviews,
I
that's one of the reasons they're so funny.
right. Because I honestly don't know how bad a day could be if you're sitting there and just tasting wine. Even if the wine is not spectacular to your palate, you're still out, you're still socializing, you're still drinking wine. What really could be that bad?
Exactly.
All right. Well, the last time we talked about revenge bathroom gifts, misplaced expectations of a winery's vibe, and a questionable humor of serving non-vegetarian food to vegetarians. And we were in Temecula, and well, Temecula gives us experiences, I guess.
Absolutely. I recall that there was a winery employee that we thought was probably at fault for a number of the incidents,
Quite a bit.
right?
The name kept coming up and up and up in
Yes.
all of the reviews. Yes, and we were definitely against him. We were
Yeah,
on
we're
the
not going to
side.
besmirch him by reminding
Yeah.
everyone of his name again today, because Temecula is not that big, but we definitely chalked up a lot of the bad experiences to him.
Yes. And so today we're going to continue. We're going to dive deeper into Temecula's quirks and characters, but then we're going to take that scenic drive as long as the road is open, as long as it is. We're going to head on up to Livermore, which is known for its distinctive style. And so I guess we should continue with Temecula. You ready?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So we are going to head to Oak Mountain Winery, located at 36522 Via Verde. Now they have 4.5 stars with 699 reviews. So
That's
pretty
pretty good.
darn good. Now, Brianna Williams, uh, lots of reviews, 125 reviews.
Oh,
So
wow.
she is on Google a lot. And so she was not so impressed. So this is what she states. Now, not sure how this place makes money. The tasting and tour, in quotes, was an absolute joke. Two exclamation points. After touring Chilean wine country, maybe I'm a snob. I don't
Maybe
think,
Brianna. She's
yeah,
tattling on herself.
I think so. Yeah. But the tour guide was a disgrace to the business and didn't represent the establishment well at all. He not only insulted the new owners in his monologues, he went out of his way to speak ill of past patrons and tainted the overall experience. Point blank, period. Don't bring race, politics, and religion into your conversation.
Wow. In his tour, he was talking about race, politics, and religion were to infer.
That's, she was much more involved in her review about Chile than what really happened in the tasting room. But I guess during his tour, he talked race, politics, and religion.
I mean, I don't disagree with her. I think that the experience of wine transcends all of those things and really should. Um,
I'm just trying to figure
wow.
out how you work that stuff into it.
Yeah, you must
So
be
I've
really
got this
trying.
bottle of rosé, and man, Democrats just hate this. And
Like
I
you
don't
have
know
to
how.
reach to involve
Yeah,
that, to
how you.
include that.
Yeah, and
Huh.
hit all of them: race, religion, conversation. You know,
I wonder if it sounds like it was a tour, so I wonder if they kind of took them around and I don't know. I still don't know how you could bring it up. Plus talked bad about his employer, right?
right? Yeah, didn't
Hmm.
like the new owners. So I've been here for years. These new owners, man, they are so religious. It is out of control. The only wine I can serve you is if you come up with the Holy Ghost of a host, and then I.
It's so crazy and silly. I
I
I have friends who are members of that winery.
oh, really?
And so I've been there. I was waiting for a Temecula winery I'd
Right.
been to come up. It's really hard for me to imagine how they would have weaved that into the
Mhm.
conversation.
Yeah. You
I
got to
wonder
work
if
hard.
yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if it was the other people that Brianna was touring with and somehow I don't know. I thought it was
No,
just kind
this
of a
was only
stretch.
5 months ago, so
I mean, I would agree. Listen, the country did go kind of crazy. The politics
yeah,
could probably introduce into almost anything. You can tell that from like Facebook comments. It's
mhm.
amazing what people turn into a political
That is
conversation.
true.
So I can actually even imagine it, but it's hard to imagine the religion and the race coming
Is it?
up.
Right. Yeah.
Huh,
Hmm.
weird.
All
I
right.
don't think I'm going to hold that against Oak Mountain. I think I think that might be one bad employee.
Right.
But I
Right.
also think Brianna is right to be offended and irritated, and I would have probably written a bad review as well.
Mm. I don't understand why she had to. So I guess if you're in Chile, you're safe. You're not talking politics at all in Chile or religion, you know, and
Oh yeah,
there's
that's true. Like she said, maybe I'm a snob. I thought she was
yeah,
going to talk about the wine, and that's
right.
why she was a snob. Um, I'm
But
not a big Malbec fan,
yeah,
so I don't know if I would prefer
maybe that's
Chile to
politics.
Temecula.
Maybe that's the
Ooh,
politics. That
yeah,
dang Malbec, man.
they can't grow it here,
Yeah.
probably because of Democrats. Just kidding.
That's it.
I don't know.
Right. Those the
Or the
Democrats don't allow
Catholics.
the Malbecs. Yeah, and the Catholics, man, watch out. They are
I have no
just,
idea. That's
yeah.
weird. Well, Brianna, I get it. I don't know why. I don't know why you mentioned maybe she wanted to make sure we had her bona fides. Like, I've traveled the
I've
world
traveled the world
and
for
I've seen
wine.
a lot. And this shocked me as she clutches
Yes.
her pearls.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I've been all over and I have never heard race, religion, and politics anywhere but this winery. We're down with you,
Yeah,
Brianna. We're down with you.
we get it. We get it.
All right, let's move to West Nippers. I really, with two, four, six, eight L's, I really wanted to like this place. But by the end of the trip, I left very disgruntled. Tour was just okay to me. Judy was extremely knowledgeable, but I expected a bit more than to sit at a table in a parking lot for 30 minutes, then walk through a man made hole in the ground for 15. Meanwhile, our glasses were near empty, everyone's 90% of the tour, until we were seated to the end. Well, he's just mad he drank too fast and had to carry his glass around.
What is this still the same place?
Yep. Yes.
So I'm amazed that Brianna didn't mention the big hole in the ground
I know. Maybe
for the
God struck
tour.
that. Maybe that was the religion. Maybe God struck down and yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I would never write a one-star review for that, but I have also had my glass empty and had to wait because I was ahead of the cadence of the tasting. Like, who among us has not been the person who drank all the one they liked
Like, right.
quickly? And
Right.
then if you're not lucky, because I don't know about you, but I have some definite preferences. And so my friends know if they don't like it to dump it into my
But
glass,
there you go. Good
right?
friends.
And so often I'm supplemented with the wines I like, and then I do the same with the wines I
Yeah.
don't like to them.
That's true
So
friendship.
yeah, I'm protected. I'm just gonna say I'm often protected from the empty glass situation just because of the nature of my wine tasting group. But um I feel Wes, I feel his pain. If he had to go through a long tour in a big ditch with an empty glass,
Yeah.
imagine him looking around to see if everyone else was
So,
empty,
hey, can I get some of
right?
that? Can I get some of
Yeah.
that?
Oh
But I
man.
will say he was only in the man-made hole. I don't know what he thought was going to be a wine cave, like,
Yeah. In
caveman.
Temecula.
Yeah, right. It's the cave. I don't know. This cave was here. We booted out a bear so that we can be in here. I don't know.
Right.
But he did also say it was only 15 minutes. So I think he might be a little stressed without having wine for 15 minutes. I mean, you are walking through a hole in the ground. I- You know, it's
Yeah. I think also that, didn't he say he ended up in a parking lot at the end?
Well, he said he sat at a table in a parking lot for 30 minutes. Now, I don't know what the tasting room looks like. Maybe it's not really maybe it's not a parking lot. Maybe they have tables outside while you're waiting. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. But maybe if he didn't get enough wine for that whole 45 minutes, the entire experience is
Is
painted.
ruined. Yeah,
It's
well,
ruined.
it's ruined. I do agree, though, that 45 minutes without wine at a tasting room might be a bit much, but I also think he might have drank a little quickly.
Yeah. And again, those of us, who among us can cast stones about that? Right? But I I think we have to go. We have to go check it out and see
Yes,
for ourselves.
yes, yes. And
This is
no
one of those that I
response.
think I want to go see.
Yeah.
They didn't respond to him?
No, they didn't respond to him. I guess they just felt their man-made hole. I do kind of want to see the man-made hole. I want to
Yeah,
see
me
how
too.
what this cave is like. I mean,
Because I don't remember a parking lot. Here, I will tell you. I don't remember
okay,
sitting in a parking lot. And I do not remember something that I would call a man-made hole.
cool.
Now, we all have different ways of describing
That is
things.
true. Um,
So
but
maybe
they
we're
do
talking
have
about
a
the same
cave.
place.
They do have a
Yes.
cave. Yeah. Well, uh, maybe he was expecting the grizzly bear to be in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It
Maybe
was he
he's
was
expecting
hibernating. I don't know. He missed it. The bear was
a
hibernating, so
chateau. He's
yes.
expecting a chateau with, you know, centuries old um caves.
Well, the
I
thing
think we
is
talked about
that
this
those are
before.
man-made too.
Well, they are. They just they're old
They're
man-made.
old man-made.
Um, I think we talked about before. My mom was in the wine business in Temecula in the 80s. And it was early. Like it was early. I mean, I'm sure there were other wineries before, but the one that she was working with, they had purchased it and he'd renamed it for his wife and all the stuff was going on. But I remember there weren't a ton of wineries and there wasn't very good wine. So I can't imagine that any of the caves are any older than 1986,
Correct. I would think
right?
yes.
So
Yeah.
maybe they seem new and faux
Oh,
to Wes.
Could be. Could be.
Nouveau
New,
holes in the
yes,
ground.
yes, agree, agree. Well, Wes, that's kind of how wine caves are made, just so you know. Um, and this big drill, you know what? Wes needs to watch um, Ocean's 11 because they have
Okay.
that drill that goes underneath the casinos. And that's the drill that, that big giant drill is how we do caves. So maybe he just needs to watch that movie so he can see how caves are made.
That yeah, wineries don't pop up in the areas where they've reclaimed,
Yeah, right. Hey,
natural
there's a
caves.
cave here. Let's
We
build
should
above
totally build a winery.
it.
We can grow grapes here, right?
Yeah, there's a cave. That's all that matters.
Exactly.
All right. Melinda Templeton Duffy. She is pretty upset. Horrendous. I would give 0 stars, but Google makes you put at least one. My family and I, 5 total people, attempted to eat lunch here on April 17th. We ordered 3 appetizers and 2 sandwiches and waited 2 hours, and the food never came. Okay, now that's on you, Melinda. I'm not waiting 2 hours for food. I'm getting my butt up and I'm walking out long before
You and
2 hours.
Wes, 30 minutes in, you and Wes
Yeah,
are up at the
yeah,
counter saying,
yeah.
"Where's our food?"
Oh my God, could you imagine if Wes was there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you're right. Oh my God. Wow. The manager never came to talk to us. The server kept saying over and over that the kitchen was backed up. However, tables that came in after us ate before us. So, dot, 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 dot.
That's how she ended.
So, what, Melinda? Yeah.
Her food must have come. She was typing that review at the table rather than going to the counter and saying, "Hey guys, we can't wait any longer. Is there anything that we could have? Or can you please cancel our order? We're going to go
Go, right,
someplace to get something to eat." She was writing the review. And as she was writing that review, they showed
right.
up with the food.
She's like, oh, all right, done.
All 3 appetizers and 2 entrees for the
Yes,
5 people in her family. I did we talk about this last time? It's not that I don't go, it's not that I don't eat at wineries. I do eat at wineries, but I don't go to wineries to eat,
right,
right?
right.
So I'm thrilled if they have, some sausage
Cheese.
and some cheese
Yeah.
and some crackers of some sort, so that I'm not getting blotto with Wes, draining my glass and so fast. Um, but usually it's a precursor to go dine somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But again, I'm saying it's on Melinda. You waited 2 hours, girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yes, that's bad on the winery, but you're the one who waited 2 hours. Get up and leave. It's not like there's not other wineries in Temecula. Just go next door.
Right. Plus they're back. I mean, I've worked in hospitality a long time and you run a winery tasting room. It is possible that something happened. Someone was
Right.
sick or they're backed up. It's hard to keep good help, good, servers, good
Mm-hmm.
chefs. And if someone gets sick, you are in the back trying to make the salads,
Everything.
right?
Right.
Because someone has to do it. And so if they told me it was backed up, I would take them at face value and say, great, we don't need, you can cancel our
Right.
order.
Cancel our order. Don't worry about it. You haven't made it yet.
Yeah.
All good. Just give me another glass of wine.
Yes, exactly. And then we'll go elsewhere. Do
Right.
you have any crackers?
Yep. Just fill my glass, give me a cracker, and I'm good to go. We're all good.
Plus, I'm not really into eating in the parking lot. So if we're going to believe Wes, they would be sitting out in
Yes,
the parking lot
that is
eating their
true.
food.
Now, Melinda
So
here did not mention anything about a parking lot, and I'm going to say nobody else has. But I don't know. Let
maybe
let's
that's just Wes's interpretation, hole in
patient
the ground in a parking lot.
parking lot. I
Yeah.
I'm thinking that they probably have a paved patio.
Yes. Well, I think they do actually. And I wouldn't call it a parking lot. I think the cars might be nearish. And we were there, it was during COVID, and so we were thrilled to be able to sit outside right
Right.
there. But I,
Yeah.
parking lot.
I
Come on, Wes.
yeah, I think Wes has a little tilt to how he sees life.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Gavin Bridgman says it was absolutely deplorable.
Oh my.
I
Wow.
have no words, but he's
Except for
going to,
deplorable.
except for deplorable.
Sorry. No, there are more words. Gavin, you can't say I have no words and then keep typing.
But I rarely leave reviews. But this place is not even worth 1 star. Such a weird place. Bad vibes, poor service. Need I say more? Nah.
I wish you would have, Gavin, because I want to know, what do you mean?
What's bad vibes at a winery?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What is bad vibes? I mean, okay, poor service. Maybe he was, there with Melinda when waiting 2 hours for food. Um,
Or he spent 15 minutes in a man-made hole with
oh,
empty glass. I
yeah,
would like more. You should say more. Gavin,
yeah,
more specifics would have been helpful to other people so that we could gauge
right.
whether
That
it was
is
worth
true.
going to that winery.
Yeah, but he says, nah, I don't think so. Nope, no more words necessary because I
Here's
don't
the
have any
thing.
more words. I don't have
I'm
more
not
words.
saying this about Gavin, so this is not slander, but someone could write a report, write a review like that if they told an off-color joke and the staff didn't laugh. They could write they could write a review like that if they hit on someone and they were rebuffed. There are a million, it's so vague
Right.
that there's no way.
Yeah,
Here's what I want to say to all the one-star reviewers in the world. If you're going to be writing a one-star review, make it constructive enough that the rest of us can determine whether what you didn't like is something that would turn us
it's
off.
off. Exactly.
In
Agree.
that sense, Wes was actually very helpful.
Yes.
And actually, so was Brianna. I mean, those are things that, if they're going to bother you, you would know, don't go to this
Right.
winery. But
Exactly.
but
But not
Gavin,
just bad vibes.
no.
Not just bad vibes, gang.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I think we need to move on from the parking lot
I know.
and the
Sorry,
man-made
not me.
cave, and we're going to go to Toasted Oak Vineyards and Winery at 90 Red Mountain Lane.
Never heard of them.
All right.
This will be fun.
So this one I noted that I had to put down because not so much for what was the review, but the response. Because
Oh,
sometimes the
this is fun.
responses are better. So Tony Ramirez. Now I know reviews are removed by Google. I say that because I had posted one and I remember seeing other reviews like mine, and now I don't see them. I stopped by a while ago and the tasting room was sort of empty. It's nice, cool inside. Only the lady owner was there serving. She seemed friendly. She wasn't really, but she seemed friendly. She seemed friendly. We tasted several wines. Not one stood out to me as great, but that's just me. Then, before we finished our tasting, an older gentleman made it to the counter. Right away, started making political comments. That made me uncomfortable, so I left and I will never be back again.
Wait, because of the patron who made political comments?
Mhm. He was
People really
having a
have
good old
lost their
time.
minds. Yeah, he said she was kind of friendly. None of the wine stuck out, but then a guy came to the counter and started talking politics, so I'll never go back.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Oh,
So this
wow.
is this is what Toasted Oak has to say. Agreed. If you didn't enjoy the experience, you shouldn't come back.
I love it. That's my kind of response. That's amazing.
Yes, you go, Toasted Oak Vineyards. I stand and salute you.
Yes, you can't win over people who are going to write a review about your establishment because of what another patron did.
Exactly.
You can't you,
Exactly.
you can't win. So I'm glad they responded.
Hmm.
Some people decide to not respond because you're like, why even dignify it? But I like a pithy,
Yep.
effective response, which is no, agree with you
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Don't come
Yeah.
back.
If you didn't like it, see ya. Peace out.
That's good. Oh, that's amazing.
And Jill Bowden, we did a wine tasting with a group of 12, which, by the way,
Oh my
is
gosh,
so difficult and
it's a
just,
nightmare.
and such a nightmare.
We could
And
stop her right there. Like,
yeah,
why do people think that's a good group activity at that size? Or if you do, how do you not understand how incredibly difficult it is to keep you all paced together, to
yep.
communicate with all of you, to entertain all of you?
Yep.
Ha-
Because you're all having your private conversations, and it's very awkward to come in and hey, ding, 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 ding. Can I get your? And then you have the Wesses of the group that are done
Yeah.
with their wine, and now the rest of the group is still talking and sipping, and Wes is upset because he doesn't have wine for 15 minutes. What do you
Yeah, and
do?
I'll tell you, for people like me and Wes, it actually works out well for me because it's easier for me to kind of fly under the radar and get a bunch of wine from my friends of the one I really like, you
There
know?
you go.
So so it works out that way, but I would never blame the winery for it not being super cohesive and smooth because it's not conducive to
Just
it.
correct, correct. So let's see what Jill thinks. Our wine server Elliot was extremely rude and
Oh,
actually told us not to try certain wines because it was gross.
oh,
Now I'm going to go with Elliot probably figured out that these people were not really there for wine,
hmm,
that they were there as a conversation piece and to talk to each other, and noticed that certain wines were not being consumed and maybe not. I don't know. I'm gonna say he didn't say it
yeah.
was gross, but oh, like I've poured and I'm like, oh, well, you really like this type of wine. This probably isn't going to be your style, you
Yeah,
know. Um,
because it's so, and I don't, what's her name again? I've already forgotten.
Jill.
I'm not saying that Jill's being dishonest, but I will say that it's really unlikely that a tasting room employee would call anything gross
Gross. Right.
ever.
I agree.
So
Yeah,
I she might have been paraphrasing,
I think
right?
so. I think so. And then she said, I asked if we could get food and was told no because that would back up the kitchen, even though the table next to us had food. So you are 12 people. I can kind of see that on both sides. You
Yep.
are 12 people ordering all at the same time could back up the kitchen. But then on the other side, if I made a reservation for 12 and there is food, I should be able to order food if I would like.
Yeah, I would think the and so maybe he wasn't handling them well. Maybe they were terrible and he wanted them to leave.
Leave.
And that's why he went as far as saying something was gross and then kind of made it hard for them to order. I would think in that case, you'd say, really, you guys should try the cheese fries and the quesadillas, like the things that are easy for
Easy,
people, 12
right?
people to split.
Or the
Like get three
charcuterie
orders of
platter
this.
that is probably already
Exactly.
prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Um,
can't cook 12 meals. We're just not prepared for that. Although I see it, Jill, because if
yeah.
somebody placed if I made a reservation, which it kind of sounds like she did have a reservation,
Yeah.
because normally I'm like 12 people walking in, you get what you get. Um, but
12 people walk into a
yeah.
tasting room.
But it does kind of sound like she had a reservation. And so
Yeah.
I think that the kitchen should have been prepared to have 12 people potentially
Or create
order
a
food.
special menu for them. You know how
Right.
we do it. There are
Yeah.
tricky ways. If you're not in the business, I'm going to share a secret. If we know we can't do it, we might create a special thing that says Jill's birthday party at the
Right.
top and then give you four options and say, here's the special menu for you today.
Right. Yep.
And then have something fun prepared so that we can distract you from the things on the menu that are going to be hard for us to pull off at scale. Um, is that the end of her reviews or
Yep.
more?
That's it. Nope.
So it was his, I'm still, I'm still struggling to imagine that he said
Gross.
something was gross, which makes the rest of her review suspect. Like
Yeah.
maybe what he said is, no, we can't make seven chicken Caesar salads. And, you know, maybe he tried to dissuade them, but now she's so mad
Right. Yeah.
Or, or maybe they were so awful that he was trying to kind of get them to leave. And so he wasn't, because she said he was rude. So maybe he was rude in a way to get rid of
Yeah.
her.
Maybe he just was not happy he lost the straw lottery and had to serve them.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
mean,
it
we have
is
no
it is
idea.
very difficult to do a wine tasting with that many people. Like you said, to keep them on track, kind of keep them all together on the things. They're all having their own conversations. And in all reality, they're not really wine tasting. They're
No,
not. They're drinking
they're
without
drinking.
intent and they're just talking. So I don't know. Maybe
And
Elliot was a
if
little
he owns
flustered.
that winery, if that's Elliot's winery and he is a straight shooter, he may have just told them the truth about things and that they took offense,
And
right? And then not gross. I'm sure he didn't use the word
yeah,
gross,
I'm still
but
can't get over that he said something
no,
was gross.
I can't imagine. But you know, again, back to pro tip: don't go to a winery for a meal.
Right.
You don't go to a
Right.
tasting room for a meal. Some wineries have a separate
Have a separate
restaurant,
kitchen
like
and everything.
Etoile at
Yeah.
Chandon. Like there are beautiful restaurants that are connected to wineries, but don't go to a tasting room and
That's a
expect
different
everyone to have
experience. They're having a
lunch.
different experience. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not reliable, and then it kind of colors your experience.
Hmm.
It makes it so you have a great time. Next, there make you a good time when you're
Yeah.
expecting to all be fed,
Right. Yes.
you know.
Yes.
I mean, I can
Oh,
see you in the back making the
yeah,
salads, right? Do you guys even
exactly.
have salad at your winery?
No, we're just a straight tasting room. So we deal with snack type things. We have
Hmm.
homemade jams and preserves and biscotti and crackers, little sleeves of salami and cheese, you know, quick noshes.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think that's what folks should expect and
Right.
be delighted if someone there is doing something
So,
additional, but really go to Oakville and get a sandwich or something like do
right.
something after, right? I don't know
Right.
what's the Temecula equivalent
One
of
of that.
an Oakville,
Yeah.
sandwich, but
Grocery. Yeah.
plan to eat something
Someplace else.
else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Brian Stam. So now this brings back memories of the last one because he is upset about the gift shop.
Oh,
If you remember last
yes.
month we had you couldn't go to the gift shop, so he left a gift in
Well,
the toilet, remember? Um,
oh, and then there was also the person last time who bought a cigar and
and
then
was
they
forced to put it in a
forcing
bag.
him to put in a bag. So these
Right.
gift shops,
These gift shops are
they're
a little out of
struggling.
control. So
Yeah.
Brian Stam showed up to try some wines. Dot dot dot. Gift shop asked us to leave this area because we weren't members, but never asked us to join the membership. Do you must be a member to buy a gift? I'm thinking he was in the members only lounge and not
Yeah, he thought it
not
was a
the
gift
gift shop.
shop.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. He
yeah.
can't read.
No, I think I'm sure anybody, I mean, somebody can come in off the street and buy merchandise out of my winery and never taste a sip of wine, and I'm okay with that. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
confident he was wandering into a wrong area. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It might not have been his first stop,
right,
his
right.
first tasting of the day.
But he showed up to try wines, but then ended up in the gift shop. So I don't,
Wandering, wandering.
yeah. And our last one for Temecula is Rebecca Zandarski. 1 star is still too many. We went for lunch again and was told it would be 40 minutes. We were finally seated after an hour and a half. Again, Rebecca, on you. Get up and leave. Then the server let
Uh,
us know the food would be another 45 minutes before being served. I can't figure out if this is poor management or a way to get people to drink irresponsibly. Either way, we will not be back and let as many people know as possible. She will scream it from the rooftops. They hold the
yeah.
food. They hold the
So
food in
you
contempt so that you drink more.
and they're in cahoots with the DUI guys down the street. Remember that
Oh,
from last time?
yes.
I mean, listen, again, I'm not trying to tell people how to live, but there seems to be a frequent challenge with the food.
Hmm.
And these are small operations. So I work with a wine club and we have a number of members and um but but the visits aren't consistent. And you probably have this at your winery too. We can have a day and nobody comes in. Not
Right.
a soul, not a dollar is rung. And then 2 days later, it's like every member's in town and they're all coming, they're all bringing guests.
Mhm.
And we try to anticipate that with staffing. So that means that on those nights when no one comes in, we have servers kind of hanging around and then we keep them, then we cut them when we can. And um so I can imagine it's the same thing at tasting rooms. It's probably feast or famine, and they're not
Mhm.
staffing up a kitchen as if there's 12 people ordering an
Right.
entree
Right.
every day at the same time. And so you get there on a day when a bunch of you, it's a beautiful day. For some reason, a bunch of you are showing up at the same time, and they're trying their best to accommodate everyone, and it takes
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
That's just
Yeah.
because it's not a restaurant.
Right. Right.
It's a
And
tasting room.
it's tasty, right. And I will absolutely say that on those days that we were like this past weekend, we were standing room only, which I am excited about. I mean, I
Yeah.
am so thrilled, but I am also running around like a chicken without a head to try to give as many people as possible a true experience. I don't want to just pour for you, but if I'm giving this person one-on-one attention, that means I'm not giving this person one-on-one attention until I get there. And
Yeah.
so, you try, and then sometimes people ask questions. And even though you want to move on to the next person, you can't because
Yeah.
they're in a conversation and they have every right to ask those questions. So again, I go with if you were told 40 minutes and you were okay with 40 minutes and it's an hour and a half later, that's on you. I'm sorry.
Well, and she wasn't okay with 40 minutes. That's what I get from these reviews and where I think we may have talked about this last time. Some people are out in the world and really close to being triggered to be victimized by
Right.
commerce, right? So if you went and they said, oh, it's going to be 40 minutes, running behind, and you were irritated, don't wait the 40 minutes
Right.
because
Because every minute is going to annoy you more.
exactly. And the it's a sign that they're running behind, that
Hmm.
it's full capacity.
Right.
So she was probably disgruntled for the whole 40 minutes and then disgruntled that it took 90 minutes and then disgruntled for the additional 40 minutes
Right.
waiting for the food when life is too short for that. And if I was feeling disgruntled, I would move on before I
Right.
even gave them my
Hmm.
first 40 minutes,
Exactly. Exactly.
especially because it's not a restaurant.
Right. Yep.
They've
I don't
never
know.
promised that you could come in and eat at a
Eat.
reasonable amount
Right.
of time. They only offer food because in some places they're required to
Required
by
to.
liquor law, and
Right.
in some places it's so far flung they don't want people to have no food, but they're not saying they're a restaurant.
Right.
So sorry I'm so defensive about this, but I
Yeah.
just
But
feel
no, it
like
is
it's
true. It's true. People, they were told 40 minutes, and that's a long time to wait.
it
And then
is.
you can't expect if you're telling me 40 minutes, I'm not expecting my food. If it's taking 40 minutes for me just to get a table, that means it's going to take some time after I order to
Yes.
get my food. So, I mean, here's an option. Look at the menus and know what the hell you want. As soon as you sit down, we're going to have this, 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 and this. And maybe that shortens the time. But yeah, I agree. Should
And
have
here's I'm
flustered from the very beginning.
Yeah, and I'm here to share too the kind of person that I am most of the time I'm not going to care about a 40-minute wait. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to care about the weight. It's not going to bother me. One, I always have snacks in my purse. And two, I'm probably there to spend time with people. I'm probably
Right,
there to have a nice afternoon. And so
right,
I'm not going to a winery if I'm in any kind of
right.
rush.
Again, go get
Yeah.
a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Sit down somewhere, have a conversation with your friends while you're drinking a glass of wine, and then
Yeah.
have your lunch. Like,
Or better, buy a bottle and go sit. I'm
right,
sure the grounds, I haven't been to this winery, but I trust that the grounds are beautiful,
right.
that there's some kind of water feature, some kind of view with some chairs set up just for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Go enjoy a
Enjoy
cold
it.
bottle of
Yep.
champagne or something. You know,
Agree.
enjoy being
Agree.
alive.
Yes. Yes. So we are going to enjoy being alive, and we are
Yeah.
going to take a drive um, up north. So we have compared Temecula to Chile. We visited a cave that was disappointing because it was naturally formed, and we were booted out of a gift shop. So we're going to go 7 hours north. We've got to get out of Temecula, and we are going to go to Livermore Valley.
Fun
Now,
fact, I used to work for a company that was based in Livermore, and I have a couple of friends who live there. And so it's so funny because I've never been to a winery in Livermore, even
oh,
though
okay.
I was employed by a company based there. So this is kind of fun.
But all right, this is going to be interesting. All right. So, for those who are not familiar, Livermore Valley actually has an east-west orientation, and which makes it perfect for wine growing. It is not really that large. It's only about 15 miles long by 10 miles long, so pretty small region. And it is surrounded by coastal range mountains and foothills. And the San Francisco Bay Area is about 45 miles away. So it's getting an influence from there. So we are going to start off at McGrail Vineyards, which is located at 5600 Greenville Road. And McGrail Vineyards is according to them, is a winery, is a boutique winery located in the rolling hills of the Livermore Valley. The winery is centered on family, friends, and fellow wine lovers. With Cabernet Sauvignon as their primary wine, they invite you to come for a tasting, play some bocce, have a picnic, or a beautiful vineyard tour. Tasting room are breathtaking views, and the wines are astounding. They have 4.7 out of 310 reviews.
Yeah,
So
not bad.
people are thinking, yeah, those views are astounding, and the wine is pretty darn good. So Rex here does not agree. Rex is very unimpressed by those views and the wine.
Oh,
First of all, the wine was overpriced. And even when I bought one overpriced $30 bottle of wine, I was charged for the $10 tasting. The wine was not great, it was average. So why is it $30 per bottle? Most Livermore wine is 20 to 22 per bottle, except for great wines. This is not a great wine. The service was rushed too.
I love his closing remark. Okay, so I'm curious because I don't know. I feel like now that I may have been at one Livermore tasting room where my friends were members, I'm thinking, but um, is that accurate? 22 bucks a bottle?
I don't know.
Because that seems
No,
low in California.
I was going to say $30 bottle. Was it a red or was it a white? First of all,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
$30 bottle of red is pretty darn cheap. A
yeah,
30 bottle of white, okay, it might be a little bit on the more expensive side, but what white was it? You know.
right.
And then in terms of the $10 tasting, I'm sure their policy is out there somewhere.
Yeah,
Like ours is $20 to taste four wines waived with a bottle purchase. It is up on a board when you come in, it is on your tasting sheet that I hand you. It is very explicit. One bottle waives one tasting fee. So I'm pretty sure their policy is there. Maybe you had to buy two bottles in order to get the $10 waived. I don't
or
know.
maybe they don't publish it because it's the a-hole tax, right? Like there are a lot of things out there that people might pay for that I don't have to pay for sometimes because I'm not an a-hole,
No.
you
Yep.
know? And so one of the ways to kind of elicit, whatever, is to charge people for those kinds of things or you waive
Mhm.
it. Like you have
Right.
that freedom.
You have the freedom.
If he
Yeah.
was complaining the whole time about the $30 for the bottle and he was, what was the closing line? And they
This
rushed me?
this was not a great wine. The service was rushed too.
Yeah. So
So
I don't
here's
know.
my other question back again. Okay. So again, Rex, I'm seeing it from the other side.
Yeah.
If I'm buying a $30 bottle of wine to not pay a $10 tasting, I get that, right? For $20, I'm going to take something home. I
Sure.
get that. But if I go to purchase that bottle of $30 wine, which makes me sound like that's the cheapest wine that's on their
Right.
list, right?
Yeah.
If I'm purchasing that $30 bottle of wine and I'm doing that solely to save that $10, when they charge me the $10, I'm going to say, wait, doesn't that waive the purchase? And if they say no, I'm going to say, you know what? I'll just pay the $10 because
Yeah.
now I'm paying $40 for something that I didn't really like very much. Where
Exactly. If it's
that,
exactly.
right,
Because obviously he thought the wine was overpriced and not that good. So he's not buying it just because he loved
like
it.
right, right. He was buying it to get rid of the $10. He was doing a value thing, and he didn't get the value, and so he's upset. And so we have a response.
Oh, good. Because I was going to say, this is normal wine tasting math. We all do it.
Yep,
It's a calculus,
yep,
right? And I have wine in my closet right now, my wine closet, that is wine I purchased because uh, the people were so nice at the tasting and I had such a good time. And I would never want to walk away and not buy something that
right,
I've never opened,
right.
right? It's
Yep,
just the calculus,
yes,
the price of admission.
yes. So this is the response. Hi, Rex. I'm sorry you were not impressed with our wines. We do refund the tasting fee with a 3 bottle purchase.
Oh, so here we go. Yeah.
I hope you find other wines in the Livermore Valley you enjoy. Cheers. So
Again, a
he didn't read
brilliant,
the rules.
brief response.
Yep.
Yeah.
He didn't understand the rules of the game. And again,
And it's
on you.
perfectly reasonable to expect a three-bottle purchase if you want to waive the tasting fee.
I'm confident that is posted somewhere.
I am
I
sure.
am
It's
pretty
probably
confident.
also on the tasting sheets.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure that it was mentioned at some point. People come into the tasting room, they ask what the tasting costs. I'm like, it costs $20 and we waive it with a bottle purchase. And then
Yeah,
even then, after they buy multiple bottles, I'm like, okay, your tasting has been waived. They're like, really? Thank you.
I
Oh,
know.
well, all right. Well, that was just the policy, but yeah, So you know
People,
what?
what they say, they retain like 40% of what you tell them. So they're missing the most important part.
Yes, yes. And I have a feeling Rex missed that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Uh, yeah.
AR, terrible wines.
Oh,
Reds tasted like rubber tires, which is a fault. Tried both sets of flights, including the 2010, 11, 12 cabs, which were in the $50 to $80 range per bottle! Exclamation point. The whites were barely okay, which us not say, which is not, he wrote us not, which is not saying much. Very disappointed after spending $150. So
what was the
he spent,
$150? Was
I
that their
know,
tasting
what was
fees?
that? I maybe because it was a library. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he did 2 library tastings.
Tried both
Um,
sets of flights, including the 10, 11, and 12 cabs, which were 50 to 80 range per bottle. He didn't say any what the other flight was.
so maybe it was him and a partner, and it was $30 a tasting, and they each did two, and then they tipped. I don't know.
Right.
I,
So
I well, so here's the thing. Rex did say the wine wasn't very impressive,
he
and
did.
this man's saying the same thing. But it also confirms your instinct that the $30 bottle is the cheapest bottle,
Oh yeah, yeah. But these are
right?
these are libraries.
Yeah,
So that's a 10, 11, and 12. That's a library. $50 to $80, I don't think is that insane
for
for
a
that. Now,
California wine.
granted, it, if the wines are just okay and I mean, is the 2010 still drinkable? Like,
Well, it
I
tastes like
mean,
rubber tires. So tell me, I don't know this. You're WSET too. What is the rubber tire aspect? Is that associated with something? What is that some people taste as rubber tire?
uh, I have never tasted a wine that tasted like a rubber tire. What I'm thinking he's saying is that, that like, that chalky stuff that comes off of the tires, like, that,
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
especially like a bicycle tire,
Yeah,
has that, and then if you touch it, you kind of get that taste of what that rubber tastes
yeah.
like. um I don't know.
Palates are so
um
weird. So I don't. I mean, we can talk about my preferences some other time. All those friends who pour their wine into my glass all know what I like. But um, I I have only found a couple of Syrahs that I actually
right.
like. Typically,
Okay.
Syrah smells like permanent to me. It smells and tastes like a perm.
Oh,
I-
okay.
Right? And I at one time dated a winemaker who made fun of me and he described what it was, but I was like, I don't care. There's so much wine to drink. I don't have to learn to love the perm. And
Right.
then he told me I could drop a penny in there and then that would take
Oh
that
yeah,
taste away, right?
right.
And I did that a couple
So
times. I'm
that's a
like, why am I doing
sulfite.
that?
That's a
Yeah.
sulfite, and that's kind of the same thing with the rubber tires. It's a sulfur.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why I say it's a fault. And yeah, if you drop a copper penny in there, copper takes out sulfites. It breaks down with sulfites. Um,
Yeah.
but who told you to do that? The winemaker told you to do
A
that, or a
wine,
friend?
it wasn't his wine. It was a it was when I complained about it. I said, I
Oh,
feel like it tastes like this. He said, oh, you can just drop a covered penny in there.
right. But you really
So,
shouldn't have to do that.
well, the world is full of wine that I do like. So I don't have to force myself to drink Syrah, certainly
Right,
not adulterate it with a penny, unless I was, you know, stranded on a desert island
right,
and it was a natural wine cave
right.
somehow full of Syrah. And it was the only wine to be able to drink. Be kicking myself if I didn't have any change. But um, in this world, there's so much wine. I don't have to drink Syrah that tastes like permanent wave to me.
Correct. Correct.
You
I
know.
agree with that. Yeah. Um, I
So maybe that's what
100%.
he's got going on.
But
He's got some kind of palate situation.
yes, but here we go. We do have a response.
Oh, good.
Hi, AR. Thank you for your feedback. I'm sorry you thought our wines tasted like rubber tires. However, it is helpful to know how our guests experience our wines as we take every piece of feedback into consideration. And I must say, this is a first. I appreciate you taking the time to tell us your opinion. Thank you for coming to see us. All the best.
Oh, such a classy response.
Yeah, right. All right. You think it tastes like rubber tires? We've never heard that before. Um, yeah,
But that's good to know.
yeah,
Because
good
the
to
next
know.
time someone says that, they'll be like, oh my gosh, there was another guy who said that one
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it just was sulfured. I don't know. Kind of
I feel worse that he spent so much money on tasting fees and feels like it was a waste.
waste.
Because you know how when people talk about going to casinos and
Mhm.
losing money or whatever, and I always was someone who took a certain amount to play, and I consider that's my fee for entertainment. It's the
Right,
same thing with wine tasting. The price to taste is just like my ticket, my admission ticket for this
right.
lovely
That's your
experience.
entertainment. Right.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't.
But also don't know what he spent $150 on. Like,
We'd have to look that up and see what their
yeah, I
library
don't know
tastings are.
what, yeah, I don't know what you spent $150 on unless you bought a
Maybe it was
bottle or
75 bucks if you do both of these library tastings and he paid for himself and his
himself.
friend or his
Yeah,
partner. I
yeah.
mean, it does sound like a lot for tasting, but it was a library tasting and
He
he would have known
actually,
up front what it was going to cost.
so it kind of does seem like he had at least, you got to figure at least six wines because he said both sets of flights.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it wasn't a tasting, it was flights. You know how you can get
Oh, maybe,
flights?
like more than a tasting, more actually a glass,
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
maybe. Now you're
And
talking, all right, $20 a glass, 20, 40, 60.
yeah.
Yeah. And then he had a couple of other, yeah.
I was just thinking, like listeners, well, why don't you look it up? No, we're reading this as someone would be reading a review when they're trying to
Exact
decide to go to a tasting room.
tasting room.
So
What exactly does that mean?
yeah, we purposely don't know the details. We don't know Elliot. We don't know about the whole. We're like a blind person going to Livermore or Temecula, wanting to find a place to taste wine and reading reviews. And this is what they're finding,
Yep.
but only in a small percentage. All these wineries are very highly regarded by most of their reviewers, but
Yes. Yes.
these one-star folks are not happy.
They just stand out. Like I said, this one had 4.7. So very highly reviewed,
Yeah,
highly liked. But we are at our hour. So I think we're going to stop here. And on our next adventure, we will continue in Livermore and we will have to find another place to visit, although there are a lot in Livermore. So
yeah,
maybe we'll just finish up Livermore next month. What do you
that sounds
think?
great. I would love
Awesome.
it. It's fun because it makes me think of my friends and it thinks of my old job. And I loved that old job, but I'm so glad it's behind me. So it's fun to revisit Livermore and know I don't have stress dreams about it anymore and I don't have to go back.
There you go. There you go. Now, and I have some friends that make wine in Livermore. So I will have to go have a little chat with them and see what they think of, behind the scenes look at these wineries. So
Yeah. Well, super
yeah.
fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Until next month, we will be back with more one-star winery reviews. Thanks for listening.
Bye.